lunchtime. Welcome to the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank, the exclusive banking partner of the Digital Weather Desk. Thanks so much for joining us on this Monday. I got to slow down on the Red Bull a little bit, but that's okay. A few announcements before we get rolling. Well, one announcement before we get rolling. Those two hats that you see behind me are now available at digitalweatherdesk.com. You can click on the shop tab or scroll down, and you can see the hats below there, and you can pick up both of them. One color for each. Will there be more colors eventually? Probably. Will there be more designs eventually? Probably. Will there be other merchandise eventually? Probably. But you got to crawl before you can walk. And right now we're not even crawling. We're just kind of learning how to hold our head up. So that's where we are. But let's jump into the forecast. And again, most locations are continuing to see a little bit of sunshine, or quite a bit of sunshine, and a little bit of cloud cover mixed in. And that will be the trend as we go through the next couple of days. And the general thought process for most locations is that the cloud cover will increase a little bit more so tomorrow. And then we pave the rest of the week with more of the same. Occasional clouds, maybe even some small rain chances on Thursday. Radar products made possible by Brown's Roofing. And, of course, this is a good time to schedule that roof inspection. Visit brownsroofingla.com. You want to do that when the weather's good, not when the weather's bad. And again, a look at the radar does not show much, and nor do we, even with the cloud cover picking back up across the area tomorrow, do we really expect that to return to bring any rain chances back into the region. Temperatures generally in the 80s. It's a warm afternoon, and the unseasonably warm temperatures are likely to set in. And as I mentioned this morning, in full disclosure, average high is about 85. So anything above that is above average. So 87, 88, while it feels a little bit more comfortable compared to where we've spent the prior weeks and months, it's still above normal for this time of year. Janet, happy to see you as well, even though I can't see you, but you know what I mean. And Eddie, good afternoon, sir. Most locations, temperature-wise, will top out right at 90 degrees, or at least in the upper end of the 80s. Some spots will be a little bit cooler. It's 82 in Camden, 80 in Lake Providence, 84 in El Dorado. So you can kind of see how temperatures are all over the place. Columbia running cool for some reason. Need to check that out. Either way, dew points in the upper 50s to low to mid 60s across the region as well. So all in all, it's a pretty dry and comfortable environment in place. Those are the low temperatures from this morning. Let's go back for a second. I need to go backwards because I want to look at those again. So again, we kind of, this morning, upper 50s across southern Arkansas, low 60s, mid 60s. We were at 67 to start the day right around sunrise in Monroe. So again, bottomed out and then kind of climbed up a little bit shortly after sunrise. There's a look at dew points. Again, fairly comfortable, but starting to creep back to near 70 along the Mississippi Valley. Even with the cloud cover tomorrow, I think the air's still too dry at the surface to really generate any rainfall. I know I've said that a couple of different times, but I just want to preface that while folks will see the cloud cover increase, rain chances, even as we go into the second half of the week, are quite paltry. Wind speeds are light out of the northeast, and look at Futurecast. Again, look for daytime highs generally in the upper 80s to low 90s. I know that you see some blips on the radar, or at least on the forecast radar there. I wouldn't really be overly bothered by that. Again, overnight lows tonight fall back into the mid-60s. We repeat this general process again tomorrow, but with a touch more in the way of cloud cover. So I wouldn't be surprised to call it mostly cloudy skies by the end of the day. Still doesn't bring a lot in the way of any kind of significant rain chances. And then, like I said, Thursday perhaps we bring some isolated stuff back in, but it really just depends on which computer models you want to look at. Some say dry, others bring some spotty stuff back in across the region. Check the satellite radar across the western Atlantic, and you can see some of the shower activity across the coastal Carolinas associated with Imelda. Humberto is the storm on the far right-hand side of your screen. So again, two tropical systems that are both relatively close together. Actually, not even relatively. They are very close together. As we go through this midday time frame on Monday. Imelda getting stronger, Humberto not so much. It's two tropical systems that are both being kind of impacted or impacting the area in different ways. Obviously, Imelda is bringing some coastal impacts to the U.S. and through the Bahamas and things like that, but also what's happening with Humberto off to the east is it's kind of eroding that mid-ridge of high pressure and will eventually allow both of these storms to turn rather sharply off to the east later this week. Start with the forecast cone with Humberto, maximum sustained winds at 145 miles per hour, and the weakening trend has begun and will likely continue. Still expected to be a major hurricane through the day tomorrow, but as I mentioned this morning, we'll start to go, this is a 3-day cone, by the way. It really starts to become extra tropical, and it starts to lose those full tropical characteristics, or becomes post-tropical as we go through the middle and end parts of this week. Imelda will start on that northeasterly turn rather quickly as well. Both of those storms racing off to the east pretty quickly, and we kind of, as I mentioned, we've went through the nuts and bolts yesterday and this morning as to why these storms are carrying off to the east. I don't think anybody's going to really complain too much, especially considering it brings limited impacts, or more limited impacts, to the coastal United States. There will be some rip currents, some dangerous surf conditions and things of that nature, but in terms of a direct landfall for the U.S., neither storm appears likely to do that. In fact, they just won't. Bermuda will obviously be dealing with some pretty rough conditions from both storms, so it's kind of a rough 1-2 punch for the small island of Bermuda. But aside from that, the coastal U.S. is spared once again from another tropical system. And in the grand scheme of things, it has been a very, very quiet season in terms of U.S. landfalls. No U.S. landfalls, and really nothing even really bringing any kind of direct concerns to the area through most of the year. Most of it's just been stuff out over the Atlantic. All right. Again, your tropical forecast made possible by Russell Moore Lumber. Not just lumber. Check them out on Desert Street in Monroe. High temperatures today, as I mentioned, upper 80s to low 90s. Joy says it's pleasant on her back porch. Should be pleasant on a lot of back porches, especially overnight tonight as we fall back into the mid to upper 60s. Daytime highs tomorrow, upper 80s to near 90. Again, if you're looking for shocking changes in the forecast, the only dramatic thing we see tomorrow is the increase in cloud cover. Daytime highs still hover near 90 through most of the rest of the week. Again, your 7-day forecast made possible by 3B Outdoor Equipment. Upper 80s to near 90 end of this week, and the rain chances could return in some isolated fashion by Sunday or Monday. I've got Sunday and Monday's rain chances both at 10%. So again, not a lot of dramatic change to be had over the next 7 days. A reminder that what you've seen today in terms of forecast information, severe weather live streams, and everything else made possible by the local businesses that you see there on your screen. You do your part by following us on your favorite social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitch, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, and liking, commenting, sharing on all the content. Support our local business partners when you can. And again, a reminder, you can pick up those hats at digitalweatherdesk.com. And like I said, we'll have more designs, colors, and things like that in terms of hats and merchandise and things like that along the way. We're also taking a lot of your suggestions, and some folks have already thrown out some suggestions that we may actually use down the line. Again, got to crawl before you can walk. All right, we will join you a little bit later this afternoon with more forecast information. We'll keep an eye on these tropical systems, and we'll keep an eye on temperatures and the cloud cover as it starts to sneak back in across the area tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century